Okay guys, this is the henglong King Tiger 1/16 scale. Now, if you saw my previous videos, you've seen that I'd modified the front hatches, and I told you that in the kit came a rear hatch which needed to be cut out. Now, my brother watched the videos of me cutting out the front hatches, and he posted me this video of a guy who makes a hard plastic cutting tool out of a soldering iron. So I thought, oh, it's the same soldering irons I've got. So I made the cutting tool. Now, there are pros and cons obviously with any tool. Now, I won't go through making the tool because you can look it up yourselves. But the thing you've got to watch is when this is hot, if you slip, everything gets damaged. I only slipped once here. Hold on, focus. Let me get something to point with. Yeah, on the edge of the hatch there, I slipped, had a melt on the side. There you go, you can see it there, had a melt there. And which is probably going to be cut off, maybe. This nut on this side mounted here, where I plunged too deep, I melted the top of that nut off. Now, I can do a bit of work on that. I've got to sand these down a little bit. I don't know if you saw the other video. The cast hatch is slightly longer than the plastic hatch on the henglong, so I've had to make the hole a little longer, and you've got to cut the original hinges off anyway because they're fake, because the new white metal hatch comes with proper working hinges. Now, things to watch out for is you've got to make sure you're going to have to take the top of the tank off of this. On the inside, let me just grab it. The turret turning mechanism is overhanging the hatch. Now that there is one of the screw mounts, so you can quite easily cut that off coming through from the top. So you need to take this motor off. I've trimmed around it as best I could, and so it's still in use. Now I'm going to print up a recessed hatch holder on the printer, same as I did on the front. Really a bit easier on here because there's no angles, but I've got to make sure that I incorporate the turret turning motor into the bracket I make, and there's like a body brace that runs across the tank. If you can see on there, I've had to cut through, so when the bracket comes around I've got to make sure I leave slots in. Might trim that back a little and then glue that in so it reinforces the top deck. Yeah, you've got to watch, if you're going to make one of those tools, it gets bloody hot, and you've got to be really careful. The trouble is, see, I started off with a longer blade on there, but the end doesn't get hot enough because these soldering irons have got a limit. So I've had to shorten and shorten the blade till it was actually working, and then the trouble with that is when you're going past these raised sections on the hull, you could probably trim that head down. If you can see, it's a bolt with a slot in it. Come on. Which you then pinch with the grub screw. The trouble is, as you're going along, you can skim these other pieces. That's what happened over there. I just went in and touched that. So I'll make that frame to go in there. Sand these pieces down if I can find my Dremel tool, and refit the hinges, and then we'll have a more detailed rear hatch. Okay, looks alright. Here's a job cleaning up this plastic. I'll get a bit of sandpaper in there. Okay, that's the rear hatch modification.